Everything I say is based on my own opinions and experience. I'm not speaking for the public, and my feedback should be treated as such. You are watching Nico Evaluates. With 24 years of experience on Mega Man games, 7 years of doing the No Miss Buster Only challenge, and countless Snupster Races, as well as being the QA tester for Mega Man Unlimited, I'm here to tell you my honest opinion on different Mega Man games. So sit tight and learn. Hello people and welcome back to Nico Evaluates Mega Man Rock Force. Well, time for Fuse Man. So first off, one of my favorite color schemes of the game. Looks very good. An enemy with a flat surface. You know my take on this? It kinda looks like you could just jump on it and make it trigger that way, but nope. So be very careful when you're designing enemies with flat surfaces. Otherwise, it's a fun enemy. The music though, I don't think fits this stage. Sounds like a Russian anthem or something. It just doesn't fit the stage. Fun mini-boss idea. If you can call that a mini-boss. God, the spiders are relentless. Love them. Another one here. Better off just killing that, because you're just gonna get hit repeatedly. This is another spot where if you just climb up, you'll take a hit. So I would avoid these as a developer. I don't think they enhance the experience for the player. That's just a needless spot to take damage on. And here the Crypt Cloak comes in handy again. Love the respawning enemies. That's how the true Mega Man experience should be. Oh, and I don't think I ever showcased Tango. It's quite useless. But guess I'll showcase it nevertheless. Yeah, it does kill that monkey, but it's just there just to be there. So, the gimmick of the stage. Can't die when you're landing on this, which is good. It teaches you how to deal with it. Yeah, this section is not too bad. But it's not my favorite either. Because you have no idea how fast you should be on each section here. But then again, it's a learning curve, so it's understandable. There's not much to talk about in this stage, because everything just works pretty well, and there's a lack of variety of enemies in this stage, and that's why it's hard to evaluate. It's easier to just look at and make your own opinions as we go here. This is a tricky spot. So here is Heart Attack. Heart Attack City. It does work, just like any other Mega Man. It doesn't make the sprites visible until you drop down the screen. So the screen looks empty, it looks like you're landing on spikes. But it does work as intended, so I guess that's okay. There's a timer here. So if you run out of time, it's not instant death, but rather the stage starts exploding all over. You can still make it in that state. I can show you what happens if you run out of time. But in a normal run, you're never gonna run out of time. I would have probably decreased the timer a bit to make it more hectic. There's no way anyone's gonna run out of time. I mean, look at the gate is here. There's still plenty of time left. I'm gonna show you what happens though when you run out of time. What a short stage though. I kinda like the gimmicks in the stage, but the stage is so short that you're just getting into the groove and then it's over. So here's what happens when the timer runs out. So you can still make it. It's pretty random, but you'll take damage from these. So what a short stage. Not much to talk about here, honestly. This is probably the shortest stage in the game. So if an enemy drops an item, you can grab it with this weapon, but then again you could just go here and take it yourself. So the weapon really is quite puny. I just don't see the appeal of Shock Gauntlet. So sometimes you can spam the weapon, okay, so it depends where you shoot it. But sometimes you can spam the weapon completely empty in like a few seconds. So that probably depends on where you use it on. And that's what can happen accidentally here. You can accidentally shoot the cart. But luckily you can respawn it. So job well done. And if you're on that part, on the left there, the other cart can actually land on your head if you time it badly. But that actually, it doesn't matter. And again, you hit your head up here. And when you demonstrate stuff, you miss your cart. Let's see if we can go back, or if that was a punishment for us. Nice, you can go back. So even though we didn't make it in time, you can still get to the cart. So all in all, the stage is very good. I like all of the mechanics. It's just a bit too short. The stage could have been longer. The enemy variety is lacking in this stage as well. Holy shit. That's why you have to be careful when you're shooting. You just have to be careful. But yeah, there's like, what, 3 types of enemies in this stage? I was hoping to see more. Especially when the stage is one of the nicer looking ones. What the hell? There's another card there? Huh. Probably because I shot off screen or something. You don't actually have to even shoot this card, you can just go here. Alright. Fuse Man. It has a pattern that at first looks like impossible, but if you just know what to do, it is doable. I have some problems with this, but if we just look at this from an average player perspective, it's a pretty good boss. If he doesn't jump and fires, then you can just hug the wall. If he jumps and fires, then you have to avoid it. That's pretty much the pattern. The only problem comes in when he jumps and fires, and then when he lands, he fires again. There's not much time to avoid that. Like there's a very tight window there. It is doable though, but that's gonna throw you off if you're trying to do any kind of challenge on this. You just have to be so fast, and your reflexes are really gonna have to shine on this one, because if you're not paying attention fully, you're just gonna get wrecked. So when I'm talking at the same time, it's very hard to pay attention and remember all things to do when he does his moves. So you just have to be very careful in this fight, and preferably not talk at all when you're doing this. So you can see what problem I have here. Of course, it's a personal one, but I actually like this fight. It's one of the better ones in the game. Even though he doesn't have many moves, I think he has enough, and it just works out. I think it's a good boss. Now let's try to kill him now at the same time. There you can see the very tight window when he's firing from the ground after when he just fired from the sky. So this boss is completely doable, no miss perfect, but we're not gonna waste our time doing that. We have other games to go evaluate. If I want to do no miss perfects, I'll do them on my Case Mega Man challenge. I'm not sure I'll ever do this game no miss perfect on my Case Mega Man series, mainly because some of the bosses are not fair in that regard. I would love to do some of these, but if I'm just gonna do some of these, then might just as well do none of them. Wow. But this boss gives you one of the cooler weapons in the game. You can actually fully control his weapon. I'm gonna show you how that works. It's one of the cooler weapons in the game. But it kind of suffers, if that's the right word, but it kind of suffers from the same thing as Circuit Breaker, where it kills absolutely everything in one hit. So the 2 explosion weapons just wreck the game. Literally wreck. I'm not saying they ruin the game. They literally wreck every enemy. But I'm gonna show you how the weapon works after we've done rescuing Bomb Man here. So all in all, not a bad stage, a bit short, lack of enemies, but I still enjoyed that. Virus Man is next. And oh boy, don't like the boss. One of my least favorites from the game. This stage has so much green that it's almost ridiculous. The enemies are green, the foreground is green, the background is greenish. Like everything in this stage is green. I would have made the foreground consist of 2 different colors at least, because there's just so much green. And if you're wondering why I'm having such a problem playing the game now, it's because every time you get hit by some of the enemies in this game, and it's not clear as to what enemies cause that, but you'll learn it as you play. They don't have a tail, but the gimmick is that if you get hit by these viruses, it actually inverts your controls. So whenever you're green, you're poisoned, and it inverts your controls, so left is right and right is left. It's a fun gimmick. I kinda like that. So you pretty much wanna get rid of these before they hit you. The only problem, the circuit breaker looks almost identical to the poison sprite. So let me showcase that. So if you're just playing the stage with this weapon, and then you're like, oh, okay. So you can't really tell when you get poisoned. It's a subtle difference, yes, but it's so hard to see. So the weapons come really handy in this stage. You're gonna just have a bad time if you're doing this with the Buster. You can easily learn it though, but for someone with not as much Mega Man experience, this stage is hell. You want the weapons. For example, like almost any weapon is good here. But if you're poisoned, you can't use any weapon, so keep that in mind. You just wanna be careful. So, like the explosion weapons, very good in this stage. And here's the weapon, I can just control it freely. I've never seen anything like this in a Mega Man game, that's pretty cool. Only downside, you can't move at the same time, so don't ever use this on Yoku blocks, that's my advice, because you'll just get stuck. This is much like the Super Sheep from Worms, you can just control it as you please, so it's pretty cool. The explosion is huge, not sure why that is, but it's kinda cool. And one thing I gotta wonder, why is every weapon spelled like this, but then Phantom Fuse is spelled like this? At first I was like, maybe there's too many P's now, but there's 3 C's as well. So why is Phantom Fuse different? Why is it not P Fuse? Of course that sounds a bit yeah, you're forgetting C shot from Mega Man 9, so I have no idea why this weapon is called Phantom F and not P Fuse. Alright, as we go through the stage here, and I noticed that this jump is exactly the height where you don't knock your head on the ceiling. So if this is again an engine limitation or something, it's a good design not to make your head bump the top here. As we come down here, finally a background, so that's good to see. But still, there's so much green in the stage. It's almost ridiculous. But I do like green, so there's that. I would have made these little fish more aggressive, because they're mostly passive here. They don't do... They're not a threat enough. I just don't care about that. I just go through. I never see them jump up before I'm already over that part. So I would have definitely made them more aggressive. There is a variation of this same fish in the boss room, but they're a bit different. Well, the sprite is different, they work the same. So Yoku blocks. There is not a single spot where you have to jump straight up from a Yoku block to another Yoku block. Like one here and one up here. Those don't exist. And I think I know why, look at this. Yeah, the whole screen kinda moves there, so that is probably why none of those straight up jumps exist on the Yoku block section. Because that would have been... if you jump on the wrong time, that would be disorienting as fuck. So I understand why that doesn't exist. This is one of the easiest Yoku patterns I've ever seen in any game. So that's probably why. If you can't fix something, go around it. The spikes look good in this stage though. I like them, even though they could be mistaken for not being spikes. But they are spiky enough for me. And they have a fantastic design, so that's why I like them. That was the only difficult part in these, and killing those couple of enemies during the Yoku block section. Not too bad. And then when the Cho is green as well, it gives the assumption that maybe that poisons you as well, but it doesn't. So there's just too much green, because you can't tell what poisons you and what doesn't. Of course, when you play the stage a couple of times, you learn what poisons you and what doesn't, but you get what I mean. I love this weapon, it's one of my favorites from the game. Especially when it kills everything like that. Like, if you use the Buster on these, I'm gonna show you, you're gonna have a bit of a hard time getting rid of these little pellets. Little molecules. So it is advisable to use a weapon in this stage. And to be note that when you get poisoned, it takes your weapon away, so you have to select it again when the poison is over. But explosion weapons are good in this stage. Really helps out. Just using the Buster is a bit hectic. It is doable though. Oh hell! Don't like this boss at all. He also causes the virus effect, but like that would have been okay, but everything he does causes it. If you get hit by these little molecules, it causes it. If you get hit by him, it causes it. So everything you do in this fight, if you get hit once, you're poisoned and you're fucked. Okay, the little fish don't cause it. So, but everything else, except the little fish, cause the poison effect. And when that happens, you're just gonna spam him. You're just gonna stay still and use E-tanks and spam him. Because you don't want to deal with inverted controls in a boss fight. And some of his attacks are so unfair. Like, he can just sometimes swing at you so fast and corner you. Okay, we're poisoned. So like, hinders my gameplay a bit. And now we're back to normal. And there we go. How the hell do you avoid that? I've tried to slide under. And jumping over, it just causes that. So it just bounces against the wall and you're fucked anyway. So the viewers were right. I do not like this boss fight at all. Maybe make it so that only the little molecules, or whatever the hell, I'm just gonna call them molecules, only those would cause the poison effect, not him. Or the other way around. Maybe cause him to cause the poison effect, but then that wouldn't make any sense what comes to the stage. So make the little guys cause the poison effect, but don't make him cause it. Cause, okay, so that's how you avoid him. But it's still that it just doesn't work out. Like, you have to be on the edge to dodge the swing. But if you're on the edge, you're in danger of getting hit by the little fish from the bottom. So you can't just be here and expect to avoid everything like that. That's okay, because there's only one little fish. But when there's multiple ones, you just can't be here, you'll take a hit. So wherever you are, you're gonna take a hit regardless at some point. You can't dodge all of this. And what pisses me off is that Charade Clone is the weakness of this boss. But this boss has so many iframe states like that, you're not gonna deal any damage. Good luck trying to deal damage with his weakness when there's 10 million things in the room trying to hit you first. And everything you hit with Charade Clone is just gonna eat the clone, and you're not gonna deal the damage. So I'm trying here, I'm trying to hit him with the weakness. So we'll see if that is even possible. I'm almost out of the weapon. So... no, my god! Like, this is the worst design so far, no! Now I can't even prove that that's the weakness, because I just ran out trying to hit him once with it. So, what an awful design. I like the idea is fantastic. I like the fight, but I don't like how the fight works out in the end. Like, I like that there's multiple aspects of the fight. Like, you have to keep an eye on different things as you fight him. But it just gets too hectic. Oh, god damn. So let's try... I'm gonna feel... okay, this feels everything. So I'm gonna feel Charade Clone and actually trying to hit him. We hit him! Party time, boys! What a clusterfuck. And then when you get hit, well, your weakness is out. You have to select it again. And every consecutive hit you take increases the cooldown for the poison, so you're just gonna get fucked in this no matter what you do. So, what a clusterfuck. Ah. Good luck doing a no-miss on this one. I think it's easier doing this with the Buster than it is with the weakness, because everything you accidentally hit takes one shot away from your weapon. Ah! So let's try to actually... Ah! Because you can't, like... If it would be okay if you somehow knew when the little fish... Okay, now I didn't get poisoned even though I got hit by him. When the little fish come up, they don't have a good tail, or they don't have a good pattern to them. They just do it randomly. I think when you cross... Oh, no. Okay, so they just do it randomly. So... It would be okay if they had a clear pattern, or a clear spot where they would always come up at the same spot. So I'm not doing anything here, I'm just standing and firing. Hoping for the best. So... I think this fight made me puke inside my mouth a little bit. Of course, if you're just playing the game for fun and you don't really care using E-tanks, and you just probably won't care as much as I do. It's just not good design. I think there's an easy fix here, but I'll leave that for the developer. Weapon is good though, I love shield weapons. Shield weapons should get more love in Mega Man games in general. Okay, so the bosses are down. Now we are left with 8 Robot Masters. So back to where we started from. Depends on if you beat a boss from the corner or from the sides. They're gonna merge and create new Robot Masters. But now, before we keep going, let's check the Robot Masters. Let's check the Rock Force before we move on. So the biggest issue I have with the Rock Force members is that I can't revisit stages, so I can't play through the original Robot Masters with every member of the Rock Force. So originally I wanted to showcase the Rock Force members a lot more, but since I can't revisit the stages I've beaten, it kinda destroys the whole purpose. I would need to beat around 4 to 5 Robot Masters on one save, and showcase different members on the rest of the stages. That would take a million years. So I'm just going to showcase their abilities quickly on some stages and my general thoughts about them. What a shame. So the whole idea is to get the team on your side and have fun with the Robot Masters, but instead, you're better off trying them out for the 4 new Robot Masters you get after defeating the original 8. I just don't like this setup. Now you have a team of 8 members of the Rock Force, but you can even barely see them all at this point, cause you can't revisit old stages. So you would have to play the game through many times just to experience all of the members, unless you keep dying and switching your Robot Master. Revisiting old stages with the new team would have been so much fun. This really upsets me, because I wanted to play the game again from the beginning with the whole team for every stage. Maybe that's possible once you beat the game? I can't tell, but right now this really upsets me, because I want to go back to the stages I've beaten and play them again with every member of the Rock Force, but now I can't. So... what a letdown. So Nightman is probably the most boring one of them all. He just has his normal attack and the upwards attack, and he can block shots. So nothing special here. The Night Crusher does deal twice the damage, but I don't think it saves this one. He's just not fun to play as. Dive Man can use either homing missiles or normal missiles, depending on what you press. He can also dive. Not bad, but bit of a clumsy Robot Master because of his size. I don't see any real use for Dive Man. Dive Man is more useful underwater, but there's not many spots where there's water, so Dive Man just is a bit useless. I think Nightman and Dive Man could have been easily replaced by more interesting Robot Masters. Nitro Man is one of the coolest ones, probably a good Robot Master for the speedrunners as well. One flaw I found, you can actually get stuck using the wall climbing ability, but that's not too bad. I actually like his design. And most time I was trying to use his bike to go under ledges, but you really need to slide. You can't ride under the ledges. But you have to be really careful when you're trying to run over enemies. You really have to know what you are against. Because if the enemy doesn't die in one hit, you'll just take a hit yourself and crash into them. So, on some stages the Robot Master choice literally plays against you, which is fine. Tornado Man's tornadoes don't actually lift the enemies up, like in Mega Man 9. It's also easy to use the tornado attack while climbing ladders accidentally, because you're pressing up. Tornado Man's mobility is pretty good though. You can easily pass tricky stages with him because of his different moves. The attention to detail is great. If you get poisoned, it removes your special moves. Pretty nice. Fireman can now double jump, and he has some brand new moves, which I approve of. Fireman is one of my favorites as well. What a fantastic design. Fireman can also get to some other enemies easier than the others wouldn't. Elecman only has wall jump and this basic attack. I would have separated up and down beams from the normal one. Like when pressing up, you could have done the up and down beams. But now, instead, only thing you have is a normal attack and just a wall jump. So Elecman falls a bit short, I think. Elecman's wall jumps do kinda remind me of the Mega Man X wall jumps. I don't see any reason to include the up and down beams for his normal attack. I think that should be a additional attack. Like a button you press to make that happen. Bomb Man's explosion I think is way too big. You can't see shit when you're playing, and I would have removed the bomb trap with the sliding, because most of the time the explosion is just in the way. That said, Bomb Man's pretty good. Definitely an improvement on the original Hyper Bomb, no questions asked. Kinda reminds me of the powered up bombs. Cutman's attacks are pretty good, but when you use the downward attack, it takes forever for the colors to disappear, rendering you useless until they do. And the wall jumping with Cutman is pretty ruthless. You gotta be careful where you use it, because you get locked. You can't move in the air. And for the most part it's just useless. His wall jump just isn't useful unless you have like a set of walls next to each other. So if you only have one wall to jump up to, you're not gonna do anything with the wall jump, as there's no other wall to grab. Some of the mechanics of the Rock Force members weren't well thought out, I think. Cutman being the weakness of Pulseman, for example, the stage does play a bit in Cutman's favor, but for example, the miniboss can only be hit from firing right, not left. This gives the player the assumption that maybe they picked the wrong weakness for the stage, but in the end, it turns out, Cutman really is the weakness of Pulseman, even when the level kinda says, you picked wrong. Some of the mechanics are different when using Robot Masters, so keep that in mind when you're trying to do something that Mega Man could do without a problem. For example, here, it's possible to use Rush Coil to skip this whole pattern and then grab the ladder, but Cutman is unable to do so. So as a summary, the Rock Force team is pretty cool. It definitely allows you to play the game in different ways. It does give it replay value. But some of the ideas and mechanics weren't well thought out. Mainly the fact that you can't revisit stages kinda defeats the purpose. If you want to hear more specific opinions on the Rock Force members, let me know. But it's kinda hard to do any evaluation on them when I would have to save the game on so many occasions and play through the game and then do specific stages because I can't revisit the old ones. It's just a waste of time at this point.